Abundant Grace International School, we are located right in Obuasi, precisely BDM. The school has a number of facilities that aid in learning. We have qualified and trained teachers who are ready and willing to assist the children. The school has many facilities such as the ICT laboratory. We also have a science laboratory. We also have a library. The school has a number of buses which convey the children from their various destinations to the school premises. We have the football team, we have the drama group, we have a lot, and the school is based on the Christian principles. For more inquiries, you can call this number 0541 310 901 0541 670772. Abundant Grace, in God we trust.
Good evening. I am humbled once again to come to you to take you through a very important event that took place in Ghana. My name is Mr. Samson Anane, and I'm going to take you through the 1948 route. This is a political event that took place in Ghana around the 28th of February. And those of you who are interested in history, I think this is going to serve you good. Now there are some political events that are taking place in Ghana. And sometimes students are asked to write some of these political events. One of such political events is the event that took place on the 6th of March, 1844. The one they popularly call the Bond of 1844. It's an event that people think, or historians think, that it marked the beginning of slavery or colonialism in Ghana, the then Gold Coast. Aside the 1948 route or disturbances, we may also talk about the Poll Tax Ordinance of 1852, another political event. But if you want to follow me, I will take pains to take you through such events. But by popular demand, I would like to today take you through the the 1948 route. Now we must emphasize that Ghana was under colonial rule, and Ghana were ruled by the Britain. We were under the British rule. Ghana was under the British rule. Now, around 1935, there was a Second World War. And because Ghana was under the British rule, some local soldiers in the country were selected to go and fight on behalf of the British. Understand this. There was a Second World War. Gold Coast, which is now Ghana, was under a British rule. And therefore, some of the local soldiers who were the Gold Coast people at that time, they were selected to go and fight on behalf of the colonial masters. But before they left, they were given some promises. They were promised that they will be given some allowances. They will be given some sort of security because there were the tendencies that they will lose their family. There were tendencies that they would die during the battlefield. There were tendencies that they would suffer some physical damages to their body. And there were tendencies that when they come, they might not have permanent jobs to do. But the promise was that when they come back, they were going to provide them with accommodation. They were going to provide them with a continuous income so that they will live a comfortable life. And on the backdrop of that promises, they went and fight on behalf of the Britain. Now, the Second World War has ended around August 1945. So by August 1945, the Second World War has ended. And so some of the local people or some of the local soldiers who, as it were, fought on behalf of the British rulers had returned home. And these soldiers who had returned home at that time were called the veterans. So the veterans are the soldiers who did not die during the Second World War and had returned to Gold Coast at that time. Now, the 1948 route in Ghana has two main courses. The first course, we call it the remote course. We have the remote course. Let me rewrite it well. We have the remote course. Then we have the immediate course. When we say the remote course, it is all the build up to the final straw or the final jigsaw. Let me break it down for you to understand. Somebody may offend you for the first time. You may let it go. The person may offend you the second time, you may also let it go. The person may offend you the third time. Then against the first and second offense, you may decide to take an action. So the two previous incidents that you did not take an action had triggered the third action. So the previous two incidents is what we refer to as the remote cause. Then the third event, what had triggered your reaction, is what we call the immediate cause. And so the 1948 route also have two causes. It has the remote cause and it has the immediate cause. And so first of all, I have given you the preamble about that Ghana was under the British rule. There was a Second World War. Some soldiers were selected to fight on behalf of the British people, and that they had returned home after some promises were given to them. Now let's go to the remote causes. And so for the remote causes, as I have just underlined, after the Second World War, this country, Ghana, was experiencing a high economic hardship. The local people were experiencing a high economic hardship. When I say high economic hardship, it means that people were struggling to meet the basic needs. And that the level or the standard of living at that time was really low. And so the people did not enjoy life at all. The second point is that in as much as the people were enjoying hardship, there were general increase in prices of goods and services. There were general increase in the prices of goods and services. At that time too, the existing banks during the Gold Coast era never granted loans to the local people. And so if you're a businessman at that time and you needed money to expand your business in that economic period, people did not appreciate, or the bank did not appreciate, the need to give the local people the loan. And so all these things were building up, and the local people did not like it at all. Then the next one was that the British government had refused to honor all the numerous promises that was promised to the veterans. And so the veterans were facing a lot of hardship, like accommodation problems, and then they were finding it very difficult to feed. And this failure on the part of the British government also did not go well with the local people. Aside that, there were some Alambans constitution. If you remember the Alambans constitution, it is a constitution that did also not go down well with the elites. And so the elite, when we talk about elite people, we are talking about the prominent people. They had problems with the Alambans constitution that was instituted by the British government. Aside that, those who wanted to go to higher level of education were denied the chance to do so. All these things were the remote causes. So he realized that at that time it was not pleasant to live during the Gold Coast era around February 1948, around the 28th. It was not pleasant at all. Not only that, but also the local trading, or the petty trading, at that time were controlled by the Lebanese and then the Syrians. The Syrians and the Lebanese that were in Gold Coast at that time were controlling the trading activities as against the local people. And so just imagine that you are in a country where the expatriate or the foreigners are competing with the local people in the trading activities. And so you see, gradually things were building up into an unpleasant event. The local people did not just sit down aloof. They had channeled their grievances to the governor at that time. But one of the remote causes was that all the challenges that were put before the British government as faced by the local people were ignored by the British governor at that time. And so the people felt neglected. Again, there was shortage of food. As another point, do not forget that a hungry man is an angry man, as has been trumpeted by those who are into Proverbs. There were shortages of food commodities. Most importantly, there was a disease that has affected cocoa production. That was a major cash crop product that were done by the local people. And that disease was called the swollen shoot disease. The swollen shoot disease has affected many cocoa trees in Ghana. the then Gold Coast. And so they were expecting the British governor or the Queen to give orders so that they will be able to have a better way of salvaging those cocoa trees that were affected by the swollen shoe disease. But how did the British governor handle it? The British governor decided to cut down these swollen shoots affected cocoa trees and burnt them. And that has also affected local production of cocoa. And that also did not go well with the people. In fact, there are numerous causes that I can talk about. But for the purposes of time, let's just leave it at that. That there were general increase in price of goods and services. Banks had refused to give loans to the local people. The trading industries were controlled by the Lebanese and the Syrians at that time. Grievances of the local people were not accepted or were not addressed. Again, the veterans who had returned, the British government had not honored their promises. We also saw that the veterans were suffering with various challenges like accommodations. The elites also have problems with Alabama's constitution and all the rest that I have underlined or I have talked about. Then let us come to the final straw, the final jigsaw, the final event. And what is the final event? We call it the immediate cause. So we have the immediate cause. The immediate cause is the cause that finally triggered the February 28, 1948 rout. I have said that the veterans who had returned were encountering various challenges. And so they have decided to march to Osu into the Christianburg Castle to channel their grievances, their challenges, and their problems to the then governor. And so they had a peaceful procession through the street of Osu to the Christianburg Castle. But when they had approached there, they were ordered to stop by one Major Emery, who was the commander of the British Army in Ghana at that time. And so when Major Emery had ordered them to stop, they refused because they needed to channel their grievances by all means. And Major Emery did not take it lightly. And so he ordered them to be shot. And so they shot through the procession crowd, which were mainly, as it were, the local people. And through that, 3 of the veterans, they lost their lives. And so these 3 veterans, quickly, for the emphasis of record, we have so finally we have these 3. Sergeant Agete was a veteran who was part of the procession crowd. We have Corporal Atipo also among the procession crowd, and then we have Private Odati. These 3 veterans, after the shot has been fired through, they lost their lives. Sergeant Agete, Corporal Atipo, and finally Private Odati. They lost their lives by the orders of Major Emery. It is not only these three that died, but we had a lot of veterans, about 5 of them, that had serious or severe injuries. Now, when the news spread out, it not go down well with the local people. And so there was one businessman, a renowned businessman called Kwabena Ni Boni. Kwabena Ni Boni. Kwabena Ni Boni was the Alatamanche of the Osu traditional area. When he heard this killing of the veterans, he organized the youth into a serious rout. And this rout was the looting of stores that were mainly owned by the foreigners, and they were burning and destroying properties that were belonging to the British government. And like I said, the 1948 rout is not a pleasant event, but today it is a political event that has come to stay. And those who are lovers of history today, I know you are enjoying it. And so if you have not heard about this man, Ni Kwabena Boni, he was the Alatamanche of the Osu traditional area who had spearheaded the 1948 rout as recorded by history. What is the importance of this event? Don't forget that the killing of these veterans is the major immediate cause. Now let me quickly wrap up by discussing the importance of this political event that led to independence. Number one, the 1948 rout was the first victory enjoyed by the UGCC. UGCC is the first political party to be formed in Ghana around August 1947. And then the UGCC simply means United Gold Coast Convention. They had a motto that they wanted independence at the shortest possible time. And so those who were there, the JB Danquest and the rest, they had tried means to bring people on board so that they can fight for independence. And then the 1948 rout or disturbances was the first victory that they had enjoyed after the inception of the political party. Number two, the 1948 rout or disturbances also increased the popularity of UGCC because they were in the forefront of the 1948 rout. They were able to amass the population to sympathize with the UGCC party to press on and fight for independence. And so the 1948 rout or disturbances made them more popular. Then the third one that I want to talk about was that it gave the local people the reason or the need to press on and fight more to attain independence from the British government. And so the 1948 route, you can consider it to be the driving force that pushed the local people to press on and finally fight for independence. Then the last one was that it also drew the attention of the British government that some of their dealings and some of their policies and governance were not welcomed by the local people. Don't forget, I have said that the remote causes, one of them was that the local trading system were being controlled by the Lebanese and the Syrians. And that is why today we do not allow the foreigners to engage in the retail business. So the petty trading has now been given solely to the local people. And so if you're a foreigner and you want to do business in this country, you can do wholesale, but you cannot do retail. Because of the 1948 route, we have seen the need for the local people to control the petty trading system. And so all these things had been necessitated, or the thinkers or the framers of the 1992 Constitution, which became operational in 1993 around the 7th of January, saw that in order not to revisit the disturbances that took place in 1948, there's the need for the local people to control the local market. And so these are some of the advantages or the importance of the 1948 route. I am not saying this importance is trying to qualify the fact that the 1948 disturbances was good. No, it is not pleasant, and we do not intend that it should happen either in Ghana or any part of the world. I am grateful that today you've learned something small briefly about the 1948 route or disturbances. When I come again to you, I'm going to talk about other political events. And so if you have enjoyed this brief history about the 1948 route or disturbances, you can follow me on AGPS TV whilst I come your way on Friday, God willing, and to take you through another political event. My name is Mr. Samson Anane. Like and share this video, and then may God have mercy on this COVID-19 period. Before then, stay safe and stay blessed. See you and stay blessed.
Abundant Grace International School, we are located right in Obuasi, precisely BDM. The school has a number of facilities that aid in learning. We have qualified and trained teachers who are ready and willing to assist the children. The school has many facilities such as the ICT laboratory. We also have a science laboratory. We also have a library. The school has a number of buses which convey the children from their various destinations to the school premises. We have the football team, we have the drama group, we have a lot, and the school is based on the Christian principles. For more inquiries, you can call this number 0541 310 901 0541 670772. Abundant Grace, in God we trust.